Welcome back to this module, how to use the Kahunas app. In this training, we're going to run through how to access your resistance training program and log your sets, your reps, and the weights that you're going to be lifting. Let's jump into it. So at the bottom of the app, there's 5 segments: home, workout, nutrition, calendar, and more. We're going to go ahead, click workout. It will highlight in blue, and depending on the conversation that you had with your coach and your onboarding application form, that would dictate your training frequency. So the number of days that you're going to be training across the week. For me personally, I've always enjoyed training 4 days per week. So that will be labeled in that top segment. 4-day training split. It's going to have your name in there, and it's also going to communicate the number of weeks you're in that training block. Generally speaking, we design training blocks for 12 weeks. So it would say week 1 to week 12. Now, before you log this workout, you can actually take a look at the different types of exercises that you have within your resistance training program. And you can also see how it's broken down by scrolling across in that lower segment. So we can actually see I've got upper A strength, lower A strength, upper B hypertrophy, and then lower B hypertrophy or hypertrophy, however you want to pronounce it. Once you're happy, you can then scroll down. Depending on the type of individual that you are, you may have a variety of different warm-ups in your resistance training program. For example, you might have plyometrics, or if you are a strength athlete, you might have a little bit more mobility in there, or you might have further compound movements like a squat, a bench, and a deadlift. For me personally, I like to warm up on the treadmill for 5 minutes, get my heart rate up to 100 to 130 BPM, and then I'll jump into my resistance training program. So let's go ahead and log this workout. We can see in that upper segment that there's a timer. Now that timer is super important to allow us to manage our time effectively, to make sure that we get to work on time, but also to manage our rest effectively. So looking at the exercise selection, for the warm-up, it will say kg and reps. For some reason, Kahunas haven't updated it on their end yet, but all I would do is I'd literally just put in 0 and then I'd put in 5, because that communicates to my coach that I've done it for 5 minutes. There was only 1 set and there was only 1 rep. I then head into exercise number 1, which is a cable crunch. There I can see it's 3 sets, 8 to 12 reps, 1 minute 30 seconds for the rest. Now, I'm not quite sure how to perform a cable crunch, therefore I'm actually going to select the video. And there we can actually see a thorough breakdown of the technique and the tempo. Please don't rush this process. Please look at the angles, the setup to ensure your safety and also to reduce the risk of injury or illness. Now, once you're happy, you can come off that, but if you're still unsure, there will be a description in the caption of how you can actually set your position, how you can engage your core, how to crunch down, how to squeeze at the bottom, and how to control the return, as well as focus on your breathing. There's quite a lot to focus on there, but if you're still unsure, you can reach out to your coach and they will break it down when you send across your resistance training videos. Now, what we want to do is actually log the weights and the reps that you did. So again, just scrolling back to the top, we can see it's 3 sets, 8 to 12 reps. Let's say for the first set, I did 25 kilo and I did that for 12 reps, but I'm feeling pretty good. So I'm going to try 30 kilos and I got that for 10 reps, not 18. And then I'm still feeling pretty good. I'm still within that 8 to 12 rep range. Therefore, I'm actually going to then go to 40 kilos and I did it for 8 reps. And we want to tick them off as well. Now we can actually see that the app automatically remembered when you needed to rest in between each set. And now that I've completed that entire exercise, it's then going to give me that rest time to then head onto my second exercise. But let's say, for example, you have an exercise where you're not actually using any weight or any load. All you need to do is actually just select BW. That stands for body weight. And then that's a signal to your coach that you didn't use any weight or any load, but you're actually lifting your own body weight. If at any point you did want to add any warm-up sets in there, all you need to do is just click add sets. You can add as many as you want. Generally speaking, I would add maybe 2 to 3 warm-up sets, and then I go straight into my working sets. But it's also going to depend on the type of individual that you are and also your lifting based goals. Now, once you're happy that you've completed the entire resistance training day, we'll then finish with a cool down. Again, for me, it's just 5 minutes on a walking treadmill. Sometimes I might do some mobility, some stretching. We can get that programmed into your plan if you would like. If not, then there might be a general description breakdown of how you might do that. And then it's also got the date. So today is the 26th of September, 2025, and it's currently 20 to 8 UK time. And then all we need to do is just complete workout. And it's going to ask you a couple of questions. So first and foremost, how hard was this workout? Well, to be honest, scrolling on my mobile phone whilst running through how to perform the exercises, it was pretty easy, right? But again, this is going to allow us on a weekly basis just to monitor your fatigue as well as your recovery. It's going to give you a workout time, and then you can add some notes in there to your coach just to say, hey, it was a 10 out of 10 session. Or actually, do you know what? I was actually struggling. Or if I needed to go back and actually do an exercise, I have the opportunity to do that. Once you're happy, you can then click finish workout, and that will be logged onto the Kahunas app.